Another beer.
Welcome to the Ska History Hour with your host, Daryl Rubio, wherein the purpose of this channel is to spread awareness of ska music and its subgenres to the world. Our guests today are many members of Thumper from Boston, Massachusetts. Everyone, thank you. We appreciate your time that you're taking to speak with us, to share your stories and your music with the ska community. Can you each tell us a little bit about yourselves and your role in the band, please?
Doug, you start.
All right. Sure. Thanks, Teddy. Yeah, I'm Doug. I played saxophone in the band. Do you want more about me?
No, that's it. For now,
well,
for now.
your role, keeping a positive mental attitude,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was not my role. My role, I'll hand off to Neil. Neil, what's your role, Neil?
Oh God. Bad attitude. That was really my main role.
Excellent
And,
journal keeping.
and driving during snowstorms. That was really kind of one of my main roles. But as far as stage performance, I'm Neil Miller, played guitar and did some backup singing.
Right on.
I'm
Loretta. We should do the Brady Bunch thing where you look up Doug, yeah. Neil, you look up at Loretta over there. Yeah, there you go.
I turned my self view off, so I don't even know where I am. Which is a magical thing that Zoom does now. But yeah, I'm Loretta. I'm the other sax. My role, I don't know.
Auto repair.
There we go.
Engineer. Yeah,
that's right.
Not audio engineering though.
Yeah. And I'm Ted, and I play guitar and sing or sang or tried to sing or screamed.
Now, so your band started around 1991, is that correct? Around there?
That's correct, yeah.
Right around there, yeah.
Can you tell us about the formation of the band? How did that all come about?
So it was Teddy, Loretta, myself, Chris, who went to China. Does anybody know what's happened to him?
I think he's still in China.
Hendrik Gideon played bass. Hendrik Gideon the 23rd. He had literally 23 generations of people with the same name. Dave Gold played drums, and Todd Nocera played guitar. So it was pretty much a totally different band. Oh, and
Todd Nocera was on keys, but then we had
Anthony played trumpet. Originally, we were Thumper and the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
We had a trombone player who lasted like a week.
Well, he graduated.
I mean, wouldn't you consider Neil an original member though?
Was Neil? No.
Really? I missed like the first 6 months, something, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I took over for Charlie after he went to China.
Yeah, we all met at college, basically.
And I think like our second show was in our living room, right?
It was in
I think that was the first show, and it got broken up by the cops for sure.
It was my birthday, and we made such a mess that I left the apartment and didn't come back for like 3 days, hoping that like someone would have at least scooped the cigarette butts out of the sink, but no one had.
Oh, fuck you! I was there, and I did that. I lived there.
Now, there's let's go through the full length releases that you guys have. It's something that I always do. We've got, and let me know if there's anything I'm missing. Strictly full length releases: Rabbit Wreaking Havoc, 92. No One Left the Disco Alive, 95. Hellfire and Damnation, 97. Songs for the Grave, which is a comp or collection, I guess, 99. And most recently in 2024, Live at the Rat, 1996. So what's this Rat thing? Is this like your favorite place to play in Boston or what?
The Rathskeller was basically the CBGBs of Boston in Kenmore Square.
Yeah.
And that literally was so I cut vinyl records. I have a lathe, and that was literally 10 copies that we made for the Big D and the Kids Table reunion show last year.
Mm.
So it's a very limited release, 10 copies only with spray painted and silkscreen right on the vinyl itself.
Oh, that's awesome.
We
Yeah.
had some things, didn't we put some things out that only came out as part of compilations? Like,
We have a 7-inch, but I don't think you're counting that as a full.
Right.
no, but didn't some of the songs only come out like
And then no,
No,
we had an
because then we had an
EP. We
EP.
had an EP as well, which had Crazy Train on it. But I think that lands on Songs from the Grave. So that Songs from the Grave is
okay.
basically the EP plus Rabbit Wreaking Havoc, and then 2 live tracks. And then there's also a fire in our practice space that we happen to record live, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's probably really annoying for the listener, but in between every song is another episode of us trying to put out a fire
Mm-hmm.
with, like, I don't know, I think we poured sugar on it
This is a
because it
terrible
was an
idea. I was
electrical
not part of
fire.
We need
It's
some old rags. That's the quote I
oh
remember.
yeah,
it. Do we
give
have
me old
any
rags.
oil covered rags?
Yeah. So yeah, that's Songs from the Grave, which was out on Jump Up, Chuck Wren's label in Chicago. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Chuck well. Great guy. Can you guys describe the sound of your band? I don't know if everyone has the same opinion, but what would you guys describe yourselves as?
So I think the thing about Thumper is a lot of people say we're like punk ska, but we're really not. We really were metal ska, and I think more influenced by 80s metal bands than we were by the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all love two tone, 100%.
Definitely.
And then when we were working out arrangements with keyboardists and horns, we were passing around a lot of records by like Steel Pulse, because the early Steel Pulse records like Handsworth, The Revolution, and um, they had this incredible polyrhythm where like the keys would play a couple of notes every 10 measures, and the bass had a lot of negative space in it. So I think our most common interest, because I know Doug was studying jazz and classical. Loretta was in a high school band. She was had the full uniform with the button coats, and Neil was super into metal, and I was really into like mod and punk stuff. But our common language was two tone, and basically Thumper, to really understand us, we're not trying to like desecrate ska or metal.
That's just a good side benefit.
Yeah, we were being satirical and just like riffing off of each other's senses of humor. Really, that's how I describe it.
Yeah, I mean, I was always really into like the early American hardcore scene too, and like then how that sort of crossed over into the metal stuff in the late 80s. I mean, that was kind of that mixed with that love for the two-tone stuff. That was a lot of, I think, what ended up in Thumper in the end.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys had a huge uh, hardcore scene in Boston with 10 records there, of course, and SST and everyone else that they Dag Nasty, I think, was on that label too. I don't remember, but you guys, Boston had a huge hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really didn't play with anybody in the Boston hardcore scene. It's fun to note that Bill, who is, I guess, going to be playing this gig this summer, is Loretta's husband. They're a Thumper couple, and they live in Marblehead, Massachusetts. Bill was in the Boston hardcore band Maelstrom, which was on Tang.
Mm.
And yeah, phenomenal bass player, phenomenal musician.
But that sort of gets at what I was going to add about the sound, and that's like we were together long enough that the sound really evolved over time.
Did.
And by the end, like, just from a horns perspective, like we had fewer like horn lines, and it was more like textures that we were adding. Um, and that went along with the fact that like the songs towards the end were like less ska, like we were still in this like being billed as a ska band because we've been playing those bills for a long time. But I would find it difficult to hear in the music. Like if you only listen to the last few things that we together, would we have been a ska band?
We wouldn't have been.
No.
I will tell you, we would play shows and the crowd would want to hear ska, so we'd play mostly metal, or the crowd would want to hear metal, so we'd play mostly ska, which is one of the reasons why we never got particularly popular. Might not have been the best business decision.
You also have to remember there were, at the time, and I know it's experiencing a rebirth, but at the time there was a ton of camaraderie. So, for example, we did a 22 show run with the Skoidats, and by the end of that we had written like an oi song, and we played with the Bruisers. That's a kind of popular oi band from New England. The singer went on to be one of the first singers of the Dropkick Murphys. But then also when we would play with like the Blue Meanies, we would want to try to out blast them, which is impossible because they're complete maniacs. But when we filtered our Blue Meanies influences through Thumper, I think we came up with some pretty virtuosic, impressive things because being the worst musician in the band, everybody was pretty virtuosic, especially on record. Like the bass lines, the guitars, the horns, they're all doing really interesting things, and I think that's what kind of set us apart. A lot of ska bands. And I grew up in the Washington D.C. area, and I was in a mod band that was sometimes called ska, and we were formalists about it, traditionalists. We pegged our pants 6 3/4 inches because a zine out of London, a mod zine called Trouser Press, told us to do that. And that band was pretty precocious. We had vinyl and played a bunch of gigs. But the thing is by the time I met these guys, I had already gotten that out of my system. So I think that's important to know because we weren't trying to ska was just something we all loved together jointly, but it wasn't our guiding principle as far as songwriting. It can be very formal, as far as like horn line, verse, chorus, and all that stuff. And that was something we always tried to sort of push against and rebel against a little bit. So,
what was the name of that mod band that you were in?
It's called The Reply.
The Reply, okay. Because I remember some of the old ones, little north from you in New York.
Well, that was in Washington, D.C.
Proposal? Sorry.
Yeah, we played with Modest Proposal.
Modest Proposal, and
we played with the Toasters. We played with Bim Scullabim, the Untouchables. We played with the New York Citizens. I mean, this would be 86, 87, 88. So, yeah.
I feel like I remember that flyer.
There was a flyer.
The Modest Proposal.
Yeah. There was a flyer that I saw on your Instagram page, and I don't know if it's incorrect or you guys are making fun of it or doing something, but it says Thumper Epic Recording Artists.
Oh, no.
What was that thing?
The thing about the wholly unoriginal name Thumper is there's like 12 bands named Thumper. So
yeah, I saw that.
There was a band in New York called Thumper, and we were playing somewhere down in the Village, and they showed up at our show really angry that we had stolen their name.
Yo, she showed up at my house.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
She showed up at my house and
in
she said,
Somerville or in New York?
In Boston. In Somerville. And she said, we're in the process of copywriting the name. And then Tim Kelly went out the next day and copyrighted it.
We offered to split a 7-inch with them, and we were like, stop being dicks. We'll do a 7-inch, each with one side. And they were.
I mean,
They were
here's
not
the
having it.
here's the advantage of sharing a name with 1,000 other bands. We actually almost broke the top 100 of the CMJ because we put out a release and they had put out a release, and I think DJs got it confused. So we got like 118 on the 200 chart, which for us was probably our greatest
Our
mainstream
highlight.
achievement.
Yeah, your claim to fame. Well, that kind of ties in with the name of the band. We already kind of know it's that, that rabbit from Bambi, but is there any other meaning to the name?
Well, I think the story goes is that Charlie Bodine, who was the original hype man, so we had a Flavor Flav or a Cooley Ranks at the very beginning, and he was like a skinhead from the DC area. He was in this really cool oi band called Immoral Discipline that had a 7-inch out. The Reply played with them, and Charlie said it came to him one night in a drunken pool of urine that that there was like a rabbit with Dr. Martens on. So that's the origin story.
Yeah. The original Thumper t-shirts had Thumper the Rabbit carrying a big gun, but
Oh
that
yeah.
doesn't hold up after all these years.
Right.
No.
It was a different time.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a different
Definitely.
time.
Can you guys tell us about the ska scene in your area or different areas where you each live? What bands are currently from your area and what bands were from the past that, because I have a list of bands that you've played with that I know of. Do you mind if I go ahead and go through some of those?
Go for
Do
it.
it.
No, go
Do
for
it.
it.
So some of the bands that I know you've played with, back in the 90s also, some of them are still around. The Decepticons, of course, which I toured with the Decepticons once as well.
Oh, cool.
Mephistopheles, of course. Blue Meanies, which is
So,
the shirt I
so
have.
we played the
Nice.
nice. The Mephistopheles gig was we played with them a couple of times, but we played with them when we both opened for Guar, and I think that was a top 5 Thumper show. We were this club in Connecticut, and the first thing that the club owner said to the Guar was, "We just painted the ceiling, so try to keep it clean." But you know that the very first thing that Guar did was spurt fake blood.
Jizz all over the ceiling.
Neil was working merch, and like the Guar merch people were like, "You might want to cover up your t-shirts."
Yeah. Was
I think of every
was Steve
band we
Douglas in
played
the
with
band at
that.
that time?
What's that?
Was Steve Douglas in the band at that time in Gore?
The
I think
singer.
so.
No, he's the guitarist. There was the guitar.
Yeah, he was. That
I
was
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
This is 98.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he should have been in the band. He's in a band now called the Resignators, a ska band from
Oh
Australia.
yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah.
good for him.
Yeah, I was just hanging out with him at Supernova last year. So Blue Meanies, Inspector 7, Active Culture, of course, the
Yeah.
Satellites, Agent 99, one of the bands True to My Heart Meal Ticket,
Nice.
Supermarket All Stars, who used to be Slap Happy,
Yeah.
Jiker from your area too, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Spring
were
Hill-
label mates with Jiker,
Yeah.
right? They were on Elevator. Yeah.
Mhm. We got Spring Hill Jack still around, Sergeant Scagnetti still around, Johnny Too Bad's gone. Can't Say, Scoovoovie and the Epitones, The Selector, Bim Ska, Alstonian Slackers, MU330, Skinner Box, Mustard Plug, Ruder Than You, The Suspects, which are from Texas, of course, The Usuals from Florida, and The Special Beat, just to name a few. Now,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Skank and
more.
Pickle too. That was one of those early shows. They came to Boston and we played with them. They
Who was
were
that?
great.
Less Than Jake.
oh, yeah.
Skank and Pickle.
Mm.
Less
Less
Than
Than
Jake.
Jake, yeah.
Planet Smashers. Let's Go Bowling. I mean, we pretty much
Covered
hit it
Cavs.
all. We covered it all.
We did. We played for a long time with a lot of bands.
Did you guys ever play with Janitors Against Apartheid?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that we never played with the what's that band from Boston that got huge? Sorry, I've been drinking.
Boston.
The Boston's.
Boston.
We never played. We never played with the Boston's.
No.
Well, one thing that's funny is like we never were really a Boston band. It was, like our closing show, I remember there was an ad in the Boston Phoenix, which was the rock, rag at the time. And it was like Thumper from Connecticut or from, will be playing their last show at the Middle East in Cambridge because like, especially, I mean, we just ended up having a bigger audience
That's
in,
true.
New Haven and other spots outside of Boston that right in Boston, we actually, that it was weird in some ways that we didn't have our
Yeah.
big
Our
sometime.
big rooms were the Tune In and Pearl Street in Northampton, Mass.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I
One thing I've been thinking about is that Scotolite show at Club Babyhead in Providence. Dave White and I totally blitzed, somehow ended up at Fort Thunder, which is the famous artist loft where that birthed Lightning Bolt. And there was some kid who had a whole stage set up in his loft, and Tommy McCook was there. And they were like, play, play. And then, so next thing I know, I'm like trading solos with Tommy McCook.
that's amazing.
The father of everything.
Pretty much.
We got around, and half the time we were totally blitzed.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I don't remember playing with 3/4 of the bands you just mentioned.
And then another funny story is that Special Beat Selector show we went on before the advertised doors opened.
Yeah. Like, Thumper's on at 7:30, doors open at 8.
Yeah.
Oh, we played with Fishbone. Same
Oh, yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
But Queen
Oh, and
Latifah.
Queen Latifah, and They Might Be Giants. That
Yeah.
same show.
Yeah.
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing for me about that Special Beat show was that I grew up worshiping Ranking Roger. And so we were doing sound check, and he was sitting at the bar, and I sat down next to him, and I sat there for 15 minutes drinking a beer. He's drinking a beer. I'm trying desperately to come up with something to say that's not like totally fanboy. And so finally I finished my beer, and I was like, all right, take it easy, man. And I walked away.
That show was a dream though, because like the specials in the beat when I was that was my like,
Oh, yeah.
hallelujah moments when I was, early
Oh
age.
yeah. I mean, I think Thumper also dissected Just Can't Stop It and tried to figure out why.
So,
Thumper was all about finding space for the instruments in an as best an arrangement as we could come up with, but those were our guys. Like, also we passed around UB40's very first record, Signing Off, which is probably one of the best recorded albums of the genre. The sax sounds on that and the warmth of that recording is amazing. So these are the things we were like dissecting when we would go in the studio and try to figure out how to make it sound interesting. And it took a lot of restraint. We would do lots of clever tricks. Like, I know some kids were like trying to ask like how Neil wrote his parts, and a lot of times Neil would double the bass, which I thought was really cool. But that's also an English beat trick. And then Doug's demented mind coming. He's a New England Conservatory dropout, so he had this wealth of jazz information, and so his horn lines are not normal horn lines. So
You should also mention Eric Michael Cohen had a lot.
Right. And so the engineer producer of Hellfire and No One Left the Disco Alive is our longtime friend Eric Michael Decaf Cohen. And he had a huge role in that. And he was super well, like we always recorded in these beautiful analog studios with like Neves and he had the distressor that Steve Albini used, and we tried that. We were like really into the recording process, even though we could only afford like 3 17-hour days to like finish.
When we would book a day, we'd be there like the first second that the clock started, and just be there and put the engineer through hell until like the time expired, and then we'd all like collapse and go. I remember like one of the times when we did disco. We had played a show up in Orono, Maine till like 4 a.m. until we got home. And then, but we had like studio starting at 8, but we all still like, got that 2 hours of sleep or whatever, and then rolled back into the studio, start doing tracks. Cause that was everything,
Yeah, there's a Polaroid from the disco sessions that says 17 and a half hours
right.
of recording. I mean, I think every band tries to pull that off.
Eric Michael Decaf was good too, because he also had that whole like, he was really into some of the hair metal stuff,
Yeah.
the Skid Row, and so like he got some of that stuff that we flirted with now and then too, and like he kind of understood how we were trying to throw some of that stuff in.
When we did the Iron Maiden medley, he knew just how. He's like, "Oh, you got to
Exactly.
get that vocal," and he just
Right.
nailed it. He knew exactly the engineering tricks to like make that metal vocal happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what bands or artists are each of your influence on Thumper music?
I think Ted mentioned a lot of them. Uh, some of the other ones I would say is definitely Bad Brains. That band, when I first listened to Eye Against Eye, that record, that band changed my life. Uh, that's the one that comes to most to me. That Ted, other than of course the two-tone stuff. I got to say the Blue Meanies changed Thumper. I was blown away by their horn section.
Mhm.
Like their horn section just won. It made me want to be better. I still will just put on their records just to listen to their horns.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that strike me the most, especially bands we played with.
We never played with them, but I really loved Rocket from the Crypt too.
Mm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Using horns in a more rock thing. That was
Yeah.
cool.
I
I
also
also
like that
love.
they
I
wore
I
like
also go ahead, Lo.
matching costumes, but not really costumes, just like matching shirts and stuff. And we had been doing similar stuff, but in a more mental way.
Yeah.
I had been really into, stuff like Dead Kennedys and Circle Jerks and Husker Du, and then that kind of bleeding into like Metallica, when I was at a certain age, like where it was just, the kind of the heaviness and the guitar playing and harmonies and really complex lines. That was definitely something, in addition to all the two-tone stuff that I'd been into, that kind of ended up, I think, polluting the Thumper soundscape.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and I
don't
would
think
just
I'd ever
add,
listened to, sorry.
I agree with everybody's comments. I would add the Clash, of course,
Clash.
the
Of course.
Jam.
Mhm.
I was a super mega collector of this skinhead soul band, the Redskins. They had horn section, played a lot of soul music, so you'll find that enters a tiny bit. And then we all grew up in the '80s, so we couldn't escape those Ronco music compilation ads where it would be like 17 hair metal songs like encapsulated in about a 3-minute TV ad.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen any of
Oh
those,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like that's ingrained on our DNA. So as far as like we could share musical influences, but we share comedic influences. I think metal was like such a you know for young freaks growing up in the '80s, hair metal was just this hilarious,
Yeah.
incredible thing. Guns and Roses and all that, even.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, is that sacrilegious to say in a ska band? I don't know.
No, no.
Well, it's funny because I think like basically maybe other than the Clash, none of us actually mentioned anything that's even approaching ska.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny because the Blue Meanies, we played with the Blue Meanies somewhere in the Midwest, and then our next night we were going to play with Let's Go Bowling at a club that had a notorious skinhead clientele. And the Blue Meanies are like, oh, they're gonna fucking hate you guys. But I think some of the Thumper Blue Meanies shows with what are some of the other bands? Oh, we didn't mention Schlong. We played with
Oh
Schlong. We love
yeah.
those guys.
Dave Mello from
Love
Pop
those
Ivy.
guys. Band and then a bunch of New Orleans uh bands as well, ska bands. Um oh, I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about New Orleans, but
No,
Well,
look, I got to book Schlong once. in Santa Monica over here, but that was late 90s. Now let's talk about the band's songwriting process. Is this a collaboration between everyone? Does everyone bring their horn lines in, uh, guitar, bass in, or is it just one person that kind of coordinates everything?
I mean, I think it was an egalitarian process. Someone would bring in a riff or a song idea, and then we'd put it on the slab, and then 12 fist fights and 20 cases of beer later, the song would be birthed.
I
But
think
Yeah, it wasn't like one person coming in with the whole thing. Somebody would come in with,
yeah,
some lyrics and some
Mhm.
chords, and then, Lo and I would work on a horn line. And to Ted's point, Neil would tell us why it's wrong, and then we'd light something on fire.
yeah,
well, I was thinking usually the song itself, like chord changes and lyrics, verse, chorus would come from one person. Although there was that one, Doug, that you and I wrote together for the first record, Show Up You. But
Yep.
usually it was like one person. And but then, I mean, that would be where it started though, because then like there'd be the knockdown, drag out, you know, brutal process in the rehearsal room about
I
like
believe
how
that's
does
called
everybody fit
editing.
in? Where does each new, where does everybody find their way to make a mark on that final song? I mean, that would go on
yeah.
to where by the end it would definitely be a real band
And there was
production.
no substitution for touring. I mean, touring took the song and annealed it and made it into like really what it was. We always sounded so much better after a week of playing on the road or longer.
Usually by the time we got home, we're like, now we got it.
We got
Yeah,
it. We're
but
done.
it
Go
was
back to
already
work.
too late.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's talk about Fernando Pinto and elevator music. Way back then, I noticed that he's still uh, booking shows, but completely different genres.
Yeah, he's actually just
He
left
just
the
left.
country. He moved
Sorry,
back
sorry,
to
Ted.
Portugal.
Got it.
Yeah, he just quit. He just left to move
So,
back. Yeah.
so honestly, I don't know how we got in with Fernando, except that he booked us at the Tune In, and then we played there, and then we sort of formed a relationship with him. I remember he took us out to Portuguese food in East Cambridge, which is like this super Portuguese neighborhood near us. And then I don't know, Ted, how did that evolve?
Well, we had first of all our first flirtation with a record contract was with Dojo, which was a British label that did a lot of mod and ska stuff. Lowell was the guy, and Thumper with delusions of grandeur and being like complete idiots. We didn't sign that deal because they wanted worldwide rights, like anybody fucking cares about it. Like
Exactly.
that always shot us in the foot.
Same
It's
thing
like,
happened
oh
with
no, we can't
Earache.
sign this. This is legally, too binding and blah blah blah. But that would have been great because we would have played Europe, which we never did, and that would have been a dream come true.
The
But
same thing happened with Earache, Teddy. We wouldn't sign with them because they wanted to own our rights, and we were like, fuck that, no.
well, Thumper was almost on Earache, which is Napalm Death and Anal Cunt's
Mhm.
label. Is that going to get bleeped out? That's a pretty brutal
No,
title, but
no, we're
um,
good.
we had a
Napalm Death or
little
Anal Cut? Which one's brutal?
um, Anal Death.
Anal
They
Napalm.
they offered us, so we had recorded Hellfire, and the ska boom was happening. All the bands were getting signed, and instead of us having like a normal major label, we had like the death metal label, which we loved, of course, because we're like, that'll piss so many people off. um, and in the end, after some flirtation, they actually sent me a box of their entire catalog. So I know about At the Gates, the Swedish death metal band. And I have all the anal cunt that you guys want some, I'll send it
No,
over.
I'm good. I'm good.
But
I
then
heard
they
him.
then they chickened out because it was too weird for them to do a ska band. So they wanted to put us on a demo deal where they took our beautiful record that we labored over and just released 3 songs with this special, like, not real artwork, but like earache demos or whatever. So at that time, we had talked to Mike Park, and we really wanted to get over to the West Coast because we still, to this day, I feel like people probably get us more from the West Coast just because of how big ska has become. Um, and Mike was like, "Well, I can't. You can put your record out with me, but I can't do anything. I can't like give you advertising or do anything like that." And I think we almost were like, "Yeah, but you're Mike Park. Like, let's go." But then Fernando was like, "No, no, no. This is. I'll give you some advertising budget." And I mean, it was the whole deal was like a joke, basically. But so were we, so it didn't
But I
matter.
mean, okay, but Fernando's scene was like, I mean, the tune in was definitely like
Tune in was
it was
it,
such a
man. It
like
was so
great
great.
center. I mean, you look back at it and you're like, yeah, Fernando never paid anybody, whatever. But he had this like really cool scene in the
It
down
was incredible.
New Haven, and that place changed just over the time we were playing there from a total scary warehouse to this like really gentrified neighborhood with high end coffee shops. And like all through that, Fernando was bringing in like this collection of ska, hardcore bands
Hardcore,
from all
yeah.
over the country, and like the kids in New Haven and the greater area were just
They were
like
spoiled.
super psyched,
Everybody played
you know?
there. I mean,
Yeah.
AC played there. 7 Seconds played. I mean, that place got tons of bands.
Yeah, and I
And
would
for
say
a
some of the
place that like they didn't have a alcohol license. Like
Until the
he
end.
he had yeah, like in the like while it was cool, like I was shocked at how much fun this place was
Totally.
Yeah.
with like selling Jolt Cola and a bunch of, 17-year-olds. Like it was cool.
and I mean we played with the Pissed, Showcase Showdown, maybe Dissolve, but like that was super cool too because Fernando knew he liked when we would play with non-ska bills just as much as when we would, and those were terrifying for us because we thought we'd get like beaten up or whatever, but we also kind of loved it, I think, because we were sick.
Ornery, contrarian.
Like when we toured with the Skoidats, where was it? Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
Uh, what was that oi band down there?
Patriot.
Patriot.
Was it Patriot?
We wound up sleeping at their house.
Totally.
They had like a
Watch Evil Dead 2
skinhead
with them.
party in South Carolina, and it was like that. It was like out of a movie, and it was like, oh hey, we're like the ska nerds.
Yeah, we
I'm
slept
trying-
at their house with their giant pit bull.
The first show of the Skoidats was hilarious. It was in West Virginia, and our MO was we would arrive at the bar as early as we could, start drinking, befriend the bartenders. The smokers in the band would already be like sharing cigarettes with the bartenders, and so we did a great job. We broke the ice with the club. Everything's great, and then the Skoidats van pulls up, and the door slides open, and like 5 cases of beer come tumbling out. And at one point, they were just ham boned, and this is Inspector Seven and Skoidats. And at one point, the club owner's wife was in the toilet, and someone from the Skoidats kicked the door open. And I was sitting at the bar, and the bartender took a gun and he put it on the bar. Like, and I turned to the guy I was talking to, who was a city council member of this West Virginia town. And he opened his jacket and he had a gun. And this was the first night of like 22 shows with the Skoidats. so, so, so it was hilarious. And that night, Neil, I think that was the second show of the tour because we had played Baltimore the night before.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Neil almost left because we were sleeping above the bar, and the guy showed us the room, and there was no shit, a giant like 6-liter blood stain on the carpet.
All right. This needs explanation though, because I feel like all through the Thumper experience, it'd always be a question of like, who's gonna break? He broke on that turn. And I never broke all through the tours except for that one night when that morning we'd woken up and Ted's mom was making us like waffles and
Oh, the
everything
night
in
before,
the
yeah.
DC area. And then that night, I'm like laying down in a blood stain in a crack house in West Virginia, and there's like drunken oi dudes running around this entire den. It was just like, maybe not. Maybe this isn't the thing tonight.
But we became such good friends with the Skoidats
Yeah.
and just love those dudes. And then Inspector Seven was hilarious because I think they brought 22 people on the road with them, like the Predator and Scoochie Booby. All these people were like peeling off the tour and taking the bus back to New York. It was just like hilarious. So much fun. We had a lot of fun.
That was a great tour.
Yeah. I felt bad for them because they had a passenger van, but like it was a huge van, but they all still had to like sit all like this because there were so many of them in there.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember if I've seen your band, because I've been, I've toured a few times across the U.S. And I'm trying to think. I think I may have caught you guys in Greenwich once. Did you guys ever play like around 97, 98 in Greenwich?
We absolutely did.
Yes.
That was a bad night. Something bad happened.
That was the night that I forget who was
Safe
opening. It was some
assumption.
band from Greenwich, and we like there was almost like a fist fight.
No,
Wait,
that's the LNG.
Am I missing? Am I
I need
remembering
more
a different show?
specifics than something bad happened. To,
Like,
down. I mean, like what?
Am I remembering the wrong show?
there was
Yeah.
something weird that in Greenwich, I remember, but I don't remember what it was.
Westport, we got in a fight.
Oh,
Oh,
so I'm
maybe that's
thinking
what it was.
Westport. Well, Connecticut's Connecticut.
We had this hilarious thing because like it's funny because you couldn't meet
Oh, wait.
a nicer group of folks than Thumper and like genuinely interested in what others have to say and just into the camaraderie of the music scene. But we had played at this Eagles Lodge, and the kid, this is where Thumper always got into trouble. Chuck Wren was with us this night. And the kid was like, I know I told you. We were like, we need to get a guarantee because we were freaking poor. And we're like, we need to get a guarantee. And this kid calls and he goes, oh, can you play this Elks Lodge? Yeah. And I was like, okay, we need a guarantee. Can you do $200 for 6 people to drive, 6 hours, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I can do that. And then we get to the venue. It's with a band called the Step Kids or the Step Children. And the kid's like, I don't have $200. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, all right, let's not talk about this now. Let's play the show. Let's, everything's cool. We're going to play the show. And he's like, no. We got to do this now. He goes, will you take 140 or whatever? And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. So then word gets out that Thumper is in it for the money.
Oh God.
So all the kids at the Elks Lodge, all 7 kids at the Elks Lodge, and this one band, the Step Kids, stand in front of the stage like this while we're playing, start throwing shit at us. Then when we're loading out, Chuck Wren watched this whole thing. It's hilarious. It gets better. Throwing shit at us and just like, sellouts, you're in it for the fucking money, blah, 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 and all this shit. So we're driving out, and our drummer Saeed sees this sign, like a political ad on wires in the front of the lawn of the Elks Lodge, and it says like, ska show. So he steals it as a memento of this, one of the most demoralizing nights in Thumper's career. And we're driving up 84 or 81 or whatever, and this car comes racing up behind us, like going left and right and beeping and lights going on, and we're just like, oh fuck, we have to fight these guys. Oh fuck. So we pull over. I don't know what, I guess we
wanted to fight him.
Chuck Wren is in the car, by the way. Chuck Wren's in the car.
Loretta's ready to go.
It's the kid who booked the show, and he goes, oh, my science homework was on the other side of that poster board. Can I have it back? So anyway, we show up to the LNG. What Connecticut town is that?
New London.
New London. And Edna's Goldfish is there in their giant tour bus because they had just signed a major label deal. and the step kids had gotten there before us and gotten to Edna's Goldfish. So
Mm.
Edna's Goldfish were like, fucking Thumper, in it for the money, sellouts. And then we almost got in a fight that night. It was hilarious. And then Nancy like got in between and like broke up the,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
hilarious. But like for anyone to think that our broke asses were in it for the money is
I
just
just, yeah,
hilarious.
I just remember some kid like lecturing me about like, you should be doing it for the music, man. It was just like, fuck, dude, I've been doing this for 9 years. We're like thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. Like
Mm.
it's all because we've been doing it for the love of the music, you know?
But
Yeah.
there's
You just
also
make,
like it was one of these things where like you're arguing with like a teenager and like you just worked a full day, got in a van, drove to Connecticut, played a show. Now you have to drive back so you can get back to work in the morning so you can pay your rent, so you
right.
can
Yeah,
keep doing
exactly.
this
That
thing on the
17-year-old
weekend.
in
And they're
Connecticut
Van,
who
like
lives
trying to
with his
lecture us.
mom is really angry at you.
right. The van doesn't run on good vibes. You know, like
I think
it actually
after
takes
that night, we were just
gas.
like, fuck it. People will pay us whatever they pay us.
Yeah, I don't think we ever asked for money again.
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, fuck it.
So there's no
The-
guarantees or anything. You just show up and get whatever you guys want.
Well,
Whatever,
that's the thing
man.
is that's
Whatever
the
you
guarantee,
get.
you know,
Honestly,
like
some of the best nights were Pass the Hat nights. That
yeah.
place we played in New Orleans where it was like
Yeah.
Baton
We,
Rouge.
between like two condemned buildings and
yeah,
like
with
It was
someone's
Baton
Jiker.
Rouge,
piranha.
and we got
With
like a
Jiker.
paper bag full of like greasy bills and nickels, and it was like it was kept us going for weeks on tour.
The next night, this is good advice for young bands. We played Houma, Louisiana, which is an hour south of New Orleans. If you could believe there was an hour south of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we had $1,000 guarantee that night. Brand new club, state of the art sound system, whatever. And the owner's like, I don't have the money, but I own the music store in town. Do you want to go over there and take in kind? And we're like, we did. We went over there, and I think the drummer got a snare drum or maybe,
a
but then we're
symbol,
like,
something,
then
yeah.
we're like, no, can you just write us a check? which bounced and we never got paid.
Oh
No,
God.
Saeed got a snare drum.
Yeah.
Oh, and didn't Neil get like a backpacker guitar or something? Am I making that
No,
up?
no, I should have though, because I got the bounce check. He got the
Yeah.
bounce on me. It was like,
Remember that
oh
kid
shit,
was
I
like,
should have
my
gotten a
dad
snare
just
drum.
did a fresh jambalaya. You guys ever had proper Bayou jambalaya? And the kid went home and brought back like,
Yeah, he brought us jambalaya.
That was
I
the
gotta
same
imagine
club
Houma,
though.
Louisiana is no longer there. I got to assume that was wiped off the face of the earth. I don't mean that in a funny way.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably still there on stilts.
You guys ever played at the Fobwork Center in New Orleans?
No, we
No,
played the Maple Leaf
we played the Maple Leaf a couple times.
and what's it, Monaco Bob's
Monaco Bob's.
best jukebox. We did two Mardi Gras in a row somehow. And the second one we wound up at Mr. Quintron's. Do you know Mr. Quintron? Performance artist, musician, incredible. Wound up at his space called the Pussycat Caverns, and there was people walking around in giant vagina and penis suits, and I
Oh,
think it was like
interesting.
four in
Like-
the morning. It's
It
incredible.
was like the greatest party we've ever, like a marching band came
Yeah,
through.
it was awesome.
There were like people on trapeze. It was wild. Ninth Ward, you know, pre-hurricane New Orleans at its best.
Mhm.
All I remember is I hadn't had anything to eat but like a donut for like 36 hours
Oh wow.
Nice.
and beer.
That
And
is
there's
so
the
rough.
Bayou show with MU330 that ended in a riot. That's a good story.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
yeah. In
Where
DC.
Did you
they
guys
had
put the
this-
Superflies out there?
We love the Superflies. Yeah, that's those were the guys we played with at Monaco Bob's. But in DC, we played with MU330, and they were doing this bit at the time where I think it was the bass player had a chainsaw without the chain on it,
It's amazing.
a gas one inside the club, and he'd fire it up and go running around the stage. And there was like a riot of like 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was
I do.
insane. And
But
they
do you-
shut the show down. And
Do you remember what happened? Because so that was their 1,000th show, and they were talking, and like there was this kid who the singer brought up on stage, MU330, and security like tried to grab him and the singer wouldn't let him, and then the security guard flipped out and like flipped off the band, and like the band like was like, no, fuck you, man, and this whole thing like blew up into like a riot. Like basically just because this kid was up on stage and some security guy decided to be over aggressive about trying to get him off.
So all those bands would stay at the Thumper House when they played Boston. Meal Ticket too, they stayed there. Blue Meanies, MU330, and there was just this really great camaraderie. I know it's happening again with New Tone and like Bad Time Records and stuff, but I think that you don't really hear people talking that much about the early mid 90s. What a tight scene it was, and how friendly everybody was. I mean, sure, there was some people look down their nose at us, the more traditional bands and stuff, but they by the end of the Thumper set, they got the joke. I mean, the whole point was that all they had to do was look at our shit-eating grins the whole time, and then they would understand that like we were having so much fun that it was contagious. But I think that was the incredible thing. And then there was like the Toasters and like Bim and the guys who were like had been doing it longer than us. They were so supportive and like I just that was the appeal, I think, for the whole ska thing, because hardcore was so much about like jock posturing, and straight edge was huge, and the Syracuse scene was so big, and it was all about like tough. And I mean, I love that music. I actually let that band Snapcase. I really love that band Snapcase from that era. But those shows were different than ska shows. When you would go to a ska show, everybody was welcome, and even the kids that didn't quite get the uniform right. Like I know the uniform is really important, because like back in DC, I played with the Donkey Show. Remember that band?
I do.
And they were dressed perfectly, shark skin suits, pants pegged 6 3/4 inches, like so tight. But like the New England scene was a little more sloppy. Like a kid would borrow his dad's striped tie, and then like his grandfather's suspenders, which were too big, and he might have a mohawk, and it was just incredible. And I think a lot of those other bands, like Mustard Plug, we always used to love playing with. What's the band from Milwaukee, the Pacers? Remember that show we played with the Pacers? It was like 500 people. It was like a record release party.
That was a great show. Yeah. I broke my nose at that show.
You did, and your glasses. You broke your glasses, right?
I stage dove, and I just watched the crowd part as I was falling to the floor.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's sad.
I mean, but what a great scene to be a part of at the right time, and then when all the bands started to like really become pop ska bands, then it was just crazy. And a lot of people were like, well, why didn't we get signed, including ourselves, but I can't say I'm particularly happy about the America's Funniest Home Video ification of ska, where like every band sounded exactly the same,
Exactly. So let's talk about this whole new scene that's prevalent now, and the Pioneer Valley Ska Festival, and why and how you're able to play this show. Is it the hometown thing?
Neil. It's Neil's cruise schedule.
Neil's boat schedule. Well, I think it's pretty cool because the Pioneer Valley is, and I haven't told the band this yet, but I think we need to work up the Pixies song about the Pioneer Valley, because that's where UMass is, and so thank you. So I think it's local, and I don't know why anybody would want Thumper. I got to be honest with you, but Teddy got the call, right? Why did you get the call?
Yeah,
Teddy?
so we've done what this will be our 4th reunion show, or 5th?
Maybe even like 5th or 6th.
And
every
I think
3 years.
PTSD has worn off from the 90s. It's like 20, 30 years later, but yeah, it's almost 30. years. It is 30 years later. Well, we've almost broke up 30 years ago. But the truth is we just really like each other. Like the band didn't really break up because of you know, inner band animosities. We just kind of like Bill and Loretta bought a house. They had a mortgage. You know, Doug got a really good job offer. You know, stuff like that. That's kind of why we just were like, guys, this we can't keep this up. But the truth is that when we get together, it's just like a giant family reunion.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the every reunion show we've done has been a blast, and the Big D one was incredible because they asked us to be on this big show, their Halloween show. We got treated really well, and our kids were there. I think every one of our kids were there. Maybe not, maybe everyone. I don't know.
I think so.
And that's just
Mariko wasn't there, but
it's just magic. And to get to do this with your BFFs, you know, it's just like why not? And I was surprised that everybody was willing to do it because we get offers all the time, and I send them out, and there's usually a a conflict because we're in different parts of the country and we all have different things going on. But this one just happened to get a magical yes from everybody, and then it's just an honor, honestly, that they would want us to do it. And when I look at a lot of the bands, and I'm familiar with some of them, but I know they're in a way part of our branch of the family of the ska family tree. So when the ska core, ska metal, the bastards ruined ska for all the traditionalists, we were part of those original branches. And it's nice that this is like the ska freak family tree when you look at the bill,
Yeah.
And people are genuinely pumped that we're doing it. So I mean, it's just a gift really for us middle-aged fucks.
I'm shocked that they want us to headline. I was like, maybe you should have us play at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Doors open at 4. Like, why are you having us headline? That's just crazy. I will also tell you that when the band broke up, one of the reasons that I needed to stop playing, other than, money, was that I was tired of playing for 14-year-old kids. I was no longer a teenager, and we were playing for tons of teenagers, and it just wasn't working for me anymore. But now all those teenagers are like, in their 40s or in their 30s, and like now it's like, oh, okay, I can hang out with you. So
I think every show that we've had, reunion show, I've just been blown away by the people who are coming out of the woodwork, who are in the audience singing the songs. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? No, and as long as those folks are still willing to come out and see us, then we want to keep doing it, and so.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Flood from Asbestos releasing the albums that were only on CD on vinyl. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
Community Records out of New Orleans releasing the 7-inch. It's just like, I mean, I love it. Sometimes I toggle back and forth because we put so much energy and artistic integrity into those records and they're recorded so well because of Eric and that studio Squid Hell, that they hold up. I mean, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, these are unlistenable to me, but then other times I'm just like, shit, did you hear what the Tim Kelly just did on the fretless bass? Did you hear Saeed's hi-hat on that song? It's insane. Did you hear Neil's solo? This is fucking crazy. And I think we managed to capture a little magic, a little spark, and I think that's why it lives.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt's been trying to put out one of my first band's albums forever. So, but it's not working, unfortunately.
I'll buy a copy. Tell him I'll buy a copy.
he
like
would
technically not working. Like,
well, it's it's a band that I released in 97. No, 97. Called the Hippos.
We love the Hippos.
Yeah. So yeah. I put out their first album, and I managed the band for a while, and that's when I saw you guys in Greenwich. We were on tour in 97. Then I was on tour in 98 with the Adjustments, who used to be the Janitors Against Apartheid That's when we toured, 98, we toured with the Decepticons around the country.
Cool. I love the hippos.
Yeah. But that was wild. But for the Pioneer Valley Ska Fest, you guys are actually playing with one of the bands I manage. They're
Oh,
called
great.
the Goodwin Club, and they're going to be
Cool.
coming from here
Very
all the
cool.
way out there.
That's
So it should be
great.
good. Them and
Very cool.
Codename Rocky as well. So that's cool.
That's right. The band names on that fest are particularly awesome. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it should
crouton
be pretty good.
lasagna.
Yeah.
I have like the worst memory of, I would say, any Thumper human. Um, but
Good
I do
drugs, Loretta.
remember, and maybe this is the Greenwich one. It was like a really beautiful theater, and I
No,
remember,
that's
Globe
the
Theater.
Capitol Theater.
uh,
That's I think what you're talking about. That's actually in New York.
no, it wasn't. Oh, New York State. It was not New York
Yeah,
City.
No, New York
Port,
State. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Portchester.
Portchester.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
There was a lot of cocaine that night, I remember.
Yeah,
Lot of
that's the
cocaine.
night. That's the night.
Not that I would know, but I think there
Nah,
was a lot of cocaine that night.
yeah. But I can't remember the bill to save my life.
Oh, I
No,
just
I remember sound check. The only thing I remember from that night is sound check, which
It had
sounded
nothing to do
awesome.
with cocaine that I can't remember.
Oh.
I didn't know about the cocaine until later.
Nobody shared with you.
So basically with this Pioneer Valley Ska Fest, I think you guys are maybe have played with not even 5 of these bands before.
No,
Right? You
no,
played
no.
with
No,
Bucko
I
Nine.
remember
this is
looking at the
new for
bill. I was
us.
like, this is new
Right.
ground.
So you played with Bucko Nine, I'm sure, back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? You played with Sergeant Skag. But everybody else is new, I believe.
Yeah, it's awesome. I
Which is
mean,
great.
unless they fucking hate us, which is, possible.
I mean, it's amazing. Ska to me is like cockroaches. What are we into? Like the fifth wave now? Like we were third wave. What are we into? Like it comes, it goes, but ultimately, like people just love the music, and it just will never fully go away because
Mhm.
it just comes and a new generation finds out about it and starts their own thing and puts their own twist on it.
Mhm.
And maybe they're tired of our bullshit, but they have some other new way to think about it, which is appealing to a new generation. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I mean, I've been in the scene since 1990, and I've seen so many changes over the time, and just the evolution of it. You never even heard. I mean, you guys were like no one played that before. What some played it. Well, everybody on the Metallica ska album, did that kind of thing. And you guys remember Andrew and Bartley, right? From Two Hep.
Yes.
So you guys had been on, I think, 2 other comps at least, right? The
Yeah.
We
Metallica
were on 2 of their
and
comps.
the Two Tone.
This aren't two
This
tone.
aren't Two Tone, the green one. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually reconnected with both those guys about a year ago.
Cool.
Yeah, so I know Andrew's out in Vegas, and Bartley, I think he's still in your area around there, or no, Maryland. I think he's up there. Um, but yeah, time goes by pretty damn fast.
It's crazy. I
Now,
mean,
go
I'm
ahead.
excited though for these kids to see us because
You're gonna
we
blow
can
their minds.
we can still blow minds, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like they're pretty lucky we're playing last because you don't want to go on after us.
Yeah, that's
Too
exactly.
much body fluids on the stage.
It's
not
yeah, it
great.
just gets sloppy. It gets super sloppy.
Is there any crazy tour stories besides the fights that you have to tell us about? Um, Besides riots and fights and breaking down vans.
Well, I was thinking about this the other night because uh, I've been listening to a lot of Otherworld, and someone was asking me about well, there was the night, Neil, when we woke up in the morning, and I sort of predicted that Keith's house had been hit by lightning. But
Right.
when we were on tour one time with the Scoidettes, it was somewhere in Florida, and
This is Fort Lauderdale.
it was Fort Lauderdale, and we just played the show, and I can't remember how long the tour had been going on, but not that long. First few days, first week or so. And I can't remember the name of their roadie, but they had a roadie, and we'd all like we're climbing in. We're in the van now. We're about to pull out. We do the head count, everyone in the van. Yep. And Doug says something like, $100, so and
James,
so. What's his name?
James.
James. $100. We see James naked in the next 30 seconds. And wouldn't you know it, running out of the darkness, James comes running across the parking lot, drunk as a skunk, nude. And that's as close as I have come. Like if I ever have to call in something to like Monsters Among Us or something, like that's my story.
They put that kid on a bus from Fort Lauderdale. They were like, you can't stay. And they made him ride a bus from Fort Lauderdale to fucking Missoula, Montana. A Greyhound bus.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I think like the van breaking down stories, like we could start telling those and we would talk for the next hour or two because that was just constantly. But one of the best ones was Loretta, we mentioned before, she was like the ninja mechanic. And so we're like she's under the van and she sees that like there's two hoses. We lost a piece of hose or something like that. And she goes all of a sudden like, Doug, undo my shoelace and take it off my boot and hand it to me so that she can MacGyver together these two
Yeah,
pieces
it
of
didn't work.
hose.
It almost, if we hadn't tried the vulcanizing fluid before,
Yeah, we tried to
It
patch it with a bike
yeah,
tire patch.
I think it
didn't
would have
work.
worked. It would have.
Another good story in Florida was the drive shaft of the van fell out.
Mm.
And that was
We had a day
Jacksonville.
off and we were going to the beach to like chill, and the drive shaft fell out. And then about 1 o'clock, 100 feet in front of us was a garage, and we pushed the van into the garage. And Loretta's Cuban, and the owner of the garage went to the same high school in Cuba as Loretta's father, and the
Oh,
guy
wow.
hand hammered the U joint on our drive shaft like overnight while smoking a cigar, and got us back on the road. It was just like this crazy synchronicity that they had gone to the same high school in Cuba.
There's a part B, or maybe it's part A to that story, which was the Neil. So we pushed the van into the garage, and Neil's thinking ahead. How are we going to actually get to the next show? And looked over, and there was a U-Haul place, but they didn't have like a passenger U-Haul. They had a box truck, and
Oh yeah.
because the guys are gentlemen, I got to ride not in the box. So
I was
Neil
in the
was
fucking
driving.
box and I was ready to die. It was
We
pitch
broke
black.
we broke the substitute drummer on that on
Yeah, we
this.
did. We did.
Don't put me in the back of a pitch black truck.
So
But
we
but
were
it gets better. They're in the back of the truck, and we hadn't discovered that there's like a light switch no windows, but at least they could have had some light. So, we secretly put all the stuff and four people in the back or three people in the back. And Neil and
I
I
was in
drive
it.
off, and we get on the highway, and oh no, we went to get gas, and then we go and get back on the highway, and we got on going the wrong direction. So we had to, pull off, do the whole cloverleaf thing, get back on going the other direction. The guys in the back of the truck had convinced themselves, because they didn't understand the whole turning around thing, that the truck had been carjacked at the gas station,
Yeah.
and the people who had taken it didn't know that there were people in the back, so they had to let them know. So they're like going nuts, banging, and
Oh no, we were gonna jump them when they rolled the door open. So we all
yeah.
had
So
like
so
mic
we pull
stands and
over, Neil
shit.
opens the door, and everyone's like,
Whatever.
Yeah, we were stupid. We were young and stupid. You have to be young
that
and
was
stupid to be in a
before
band,
cell
unless
phone.
you're the Rolling Stones and can afford like a nice tour bus and really nice hotel rooms. If you're touring the country in a van, you have to be young and stupid.
Yeah.
That's right.
God bless them.
God bless them.
So with this yet again another reunion, are you guys planning on any more shows?
But we'd need at least $150.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
I
If
mean,
they come up, if shows come up, I love to play. If shows come up and we can make the dates work with world travelers and
I'd
people
like
with
to
jobs
play
and
in
Loretta and her
I'd like to
dog.
play in Mexico. I'd like to play on the West Coast. I'd love to go to Japan. We Fernando almost had us come over to do 2 dates in Portugal this summer. We wouldn't have been able to do the Pioneer Valley Ska Fest, and that fell through. I think it's just like, we're all in our 50s, our mid 50s,
Mhm.
and it just has to be the right set of circumstances, and that's not about money. That's about like,
No.
you know in between hip replacements and
I mean, like, I can't go on tour for 6 weeks because, like, I have a boss who would fire me and I have to put my kids through college. And I'm
Mhm.
not, I can't play for $150 anymore.
Right.
I can play for nothing, but I can't do it every day for 6 weeks.
yeah. But it would be, I think Lisbon, everybody wanted to do it.
I was in.
That was cool.
That would have
So
been awesome.
we will entertain any offer, I think.
Absolutely.
Do any of you still stay connected to the ska scene or know any of the bands, any of that, or are you guys just like totally out of it?
Well, I think even when we were part of the ska scene, our interests and our friends were like super broad.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I keep tabs on it for sure. Um like the whole Bad Time Records thing, Cat Bite. I've really enjoyed watching those bands um you know do well and have fun. It's really fun to watch them do well and have fun. And then some of the what's the big, there's a couple of new Be Decent in New York, and yeah, we kind of I hear from Matt and all this. That reminds me, there's going to be a benefit for Dave from Big D who has cancer
Mm. I saw.
May 31st, and I've sort of said I would do it if anybody wants to do it with me, play a couple of tunes
Wait, where is that? I'll do that.
in Connecticut.
Since when does he have cancer?
Yeah, I just got the email like yesterday.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's on social
Yeah.
media. It's been up there for a few days.
Yeah, kind of can't say no to that.
That's a tough one to say no to.
But as far as like getting Neil plane ticket and Saeed's kind of the big.
So he
So
always has a gig. Like
Ted
the
tried to book
kid
this
plays in
show.
95 bands.
Right.
You're like, we're gonna play a show in 6 months. He's like, no, I'm
I
booked
have gigs.
Bled. I have show already. You're like, impossible to book that kid.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you each saw each other?
The reunion show. Last time was October 24.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Loretta and I went drinking last week, so you got to move to Boston and then you can
Yeah.
see us.
I brought
Yeah,
my kids up to Bill and Loretta's last month. We're all in touch, and it's awesome.
Neil's like, I could go drinking with you, or I could go bang around the Caribbean. So I think I'm good.
Well, but bigger than just the last couple years. I mean, like the big thing was that I moved from the East Coast in like 2000 and moved back to the Southwest where I grew up. And so like that's just made every reunion is a little harder than when we're all in New England,
Yeah.
or doing shows together. It just gets that, that added difficulty adds to it, just not being close to each other. But
Somebody
that
asked
being
us to play a
said,
Porch Fest.
say
Somebody
again.
was like, could you play Somerville Porch Fest? And I was like, I'd have to ask Neil if he's willing to fly into Massachusetts to play on somebody's front porch. I don't know that he's going to go for that.
I mean, the festivals are cool because they're
Why?
hyper attention, hyper focused. It's nice. Um, so I think we would do that. I don't know. It just has to work out. We've been toying with the idea of trying to record something for this too, some new material.
Hmm.
Um, That's news to Neil and Doug.
No, Loretta mentioned that to me last week.
um, but we all like Neil records and I record, and we could do a nice remote recording session.
Yeah.
So,
Like
and I think we will do some
COVID.
kind of we'll do some really special vinyl release. I just figured out a way to cut sound on a record that makes an image when you hold it up to the light. It's pretty crazy. So I think for this Pioneer Valley thing, we'll do some super limited edition thing. To my mind, no one's ever done it really, except for like dance music people.
Mm.
So.
Are you any of you have any of you ever attended a Supernova Ska Fest or know about the Supernova Ska Festival in
Yeah, we know about it. They don't seem to have any interest in Thumper. So
well, they're doing a lot of legacy bands, is what you call it. They're doing the Impossibles. They're doing I guess Suburban Legends from here. So they're doing a lot of the bands that um haven't been around a while or don't
yeah,
play often, which is pretty cool. Like they had Slow Gherkin last year,
yeah.
which is awesome too. But it's a huge thing, and you're talking about, to get some exposure. If you did get on a bill like that, yeah, hyper focused like the Pioneer Valley Ska Fest, but that's different. That's
I mean, we
this
have
room.
we have Loretta and I have family down there, so it would be great. But you know what? It's just like the weird thing about Thumper is I think if you asked Mustard Plug or Blue Meanies, you know, or any bands of that ilk, like what is a noteworthy heavy ska band from that era, they would we would be in their list.
Mhm.
But somehow we've missed everybody else's list, which is pretty funny because our fans were pretty diehard. I mean, I'll never forget for Hellfire, we used to bring a tortilla with Obi-Wan Kenobi's face on it, like a stigmata in a glass case to our shows. And for Hellfire release at the Tune In, we silk screened or Obi-Wan Kenobi's face on tortillas or whatever. And we were throwing them out in the audience, sold out show, like 400 kids. And they were like feeding each other the tortillas like Eucharist. I mean, at a certain point, our involvement with our people was practically quasi religious.
Mm.
So it's hard to believe that we didn't, but I guess in the end, we were just more of a regional band because we never played past Chicago, really. I mean, we went to Iowa, right?
Well, and the reality is we never really played, like I said before, like if people wanted ska, we played metal. Like we weren't interested in making people happy, which probably wasn't the best for our long-term career goals.
Yeah, when the Ken Partridge did this interview, he's in Be Decent, and he wrote the book, what is it, Hell of a Hat, about the ska and swing thing. When he interviewed me for this Substack article, he's like, I thought you guys would be mean. Your music's mean.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
So like weird shit happened. Like, I mean, we were very stupid, obviously, as we've stated before. We were wearing Evil Knievel ninja outfits on stage, basically white karate uniforms with like sequins and shit on it, like Elvis's white suit. And we had this song American Ninja, a ridiculous song about like Saturday morning kung fu theater. And when we played the New England Ska Fest, someone thought it was a Klan
Because we were wearing white
outfit,
hoods.
Oh,
and it started in the periphery of the crowd, and then it's kind of like reached this hot thing to where Hepcat was playing. I overheard people saying, yeah, Thumper wore Klan outfits. Like, so like I guess that's another reason why we weren't bigger, is because people didn't get the joke, or people were too fucking uptight to get the joke. Because why would a fucking band wear a Klan outfit? Like that's just stupid. And I mean, we were used to playing with Guar, and we played with the Meat Men, and like we like that attitude, you know. Reagan Youth, Jesus was a communist. Like we had a sense of humor about it, and a lot of people, unfortunately, and certain parts of that scene didn't have a sense of humor about it. Like what we were doing was an affront or an offense, which is hilarious because we had this incredible reverence for like, rock steady and early ska and reggae. Like we all love that music. Like that's our top 10,
Mhm.
albums. I think the English Beat is probably on all of our top 10 albums of all time. Like we were religious about that music. And I think that was the problem. There were too many gatekeepers, and like, people fucking hated us for our sense of humor, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Imagine nowadays that whole thing with social media and everyone with the camera, that shit would be everywhere. You would, who knows what would happen with the band?
It would have gone one way or the other. It would have
Our-
gone one way or the other. It might have ended really badly.
So when we broke up, we circulated a rumor that we were getting death threats and that was why we broke up. And people to this day believe it.
Yeah.
So on our last show at the Middle East, we were going to have someone come up and mock murder us on stage, which in a moment of like awareness, we thought that might not be a good idea. After like the dime bag shooting or whatever.
Oh.
I don't think that had happened yet, but maybe it had. In
Maybe
any
we'll see
case,
more of that.
Thumper was part theater, like in the spirit of like Schlong, who did a punk West Side Story, punk ska West Side Story. Like those are the people that got that, we shared a sense of humor with, and Superflies and Mustard Plug and all the ME330, the Blue Meanies. I mean, it was incredible. So what we seemed like we were doing was completely natural, but to some, they fucking hated it.
Yeah. Now, we just got a few more questions because I know it's getting pretty late where you guys are. If you care to answer this question for each of you, since we know that ska doesn't pay the bills, what are each of your occupations?
Teddy, you go first.
I'm a visual artist and a musician in New York, which means I have like two other jobs. So I'm an art installer, high end art installer, among other things.
I want to know what Neil's coming up with here.
Yeah, Neil, what are you going to say your job is?
So I made my living doing software for life sciences and DNA analysis, bioinformatics. But actually for the last 2 years, I've dropped out and been living on a sailboat with my wife. So right now I'm not doing anything for a living other than spending my kids' inheritance.
So you're already retired.
On a break. I don't know. Yeah, not working though. So,
That's the life. That's what I want.
So sweet.
He's a pirate.
I'm a pirate, exactly.
I'm the involved in clinical research administration at a major academic medical center in Boston. So I deal with administrative and operational and financial issues around clinical research and medical, development. On the non-medical side. I'm not a scientist, but I play one on TV. And Loretta is a scientist.
I've been trying to change my little thing here and
It still says Northeastern.
I can't figure out how to make it go away.
Yeah.
I teach environmental chemistry and engineering to 20 somethings mostly.
Does everybody have a PhD except for me?
I don't have a PhD.
Oh, Neil's got one, right? Loretta's got one.
Well,
I have a
that's
master's in
different.
health policy.
Yeah, that's what Ken Partridge said. He goes, "You guys are all smart."
I do think that was one of the biggest problems with why we never got that big. We had too many fallback opportunities. If we had all been dumb as a box of rocks and we were like, if we can't make it, like we're fucked, then we would have made it. But we like had other opportunities.
Yeah, it's hard to pick one path,
Yeah,
There's so many options, How do you stay on one? But we used to run into that with like when we were touring with other bands, like occasionally people from the other bands would come to take a little vacation in our van. I think because there was less piss in bottles.
Oh,
And
our last van was a maxi van, Dodge maxi van. It had a wet bar,
So
Sweet.
sweet.
zebra stripe bed, red shag. I mean,
Stained glass.
we would be the green room with on the Skoidats tour because it had stained glass running lights. It was like the ultimate Fu Manchu pimp vehicle, and much nicer than some of the dive green rooms for sure.
When we were on tour with the Skoidats, I'm not trying to brag about how smart I am. Don't think for a second, but I decided to read Lolita by Nabokov, and one of the guys in the Skoidats asked me what I was reading, and I tried to explain to him it's this book about a guy who likes to have sex with young girls. And the look he gave me, like I was reading some sort of, like
Pedophile book. See,
pedophile.
now Thumper, now it's gonna get out that Thumper's a pedophile band.
Pedophile porn. Yeah, Thumper's into
It's like
pedophile
a
erotica.
clan loving, pedophile loving, who's just in it for the money band.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, isn't Lolita banned now?
are they all? I think they're all
Oh man, man.
banned.
Yep.
Now, what are each of your pet peeves and addictions? It doesn't have to be anything bad.
Wow, this is
I don't know if this
This
is a
took a
pet
turn.
peeve, but I'm a fan of the Oxford comma. I'm sticking with it.
that's an anti-pet peeve.
With
Yeah,
you,
it's an
Loretta.
anti-
Actually, I like that comment. Yeah.
What are our addictions?
Yes. Like record collecting, smoking,
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
My delusion is that I'm gonna be a successful artist. That's my addiction.
It's good. I agree with you, Ted. I have your art all over my house. So as far as I'm concerned, you are a successful artist. I think my addiction is alcohol. Don't tell my therapist.
I'm a travel addict. I like to be in motion.
Clearly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
good.
incredible, Neil. It's incredible, man. I support you.
Well, it's
So what does the future hold for Thumper? I know you talked about possibly some new material. We talked about maybe some shows in the future, but all of you as a band being kind of apart from each other, what do you want to see happen with the band in 2026?
But no one has a medical emergency at the show.
Yeah.
I'm glad Ted stopped doing the backflips at the end of each set because it was
Yeah.
just going to be a matter of time before there was an ambulance call.
I broke a rib at the Irving Plaza show, the Big Apple Stomp. Yeah.
Honestly,
I think 26, we want to do this show. We want to kick ass and have fun, and something else comes up, then we'll do it. I think beyond that, I don't know, maybe a couple new tunes.
That would be fun. Couple new tunes. And then because I cut vinyl, just doing some stupid, incredibly limited edition thing that pisses everybody off. Yeah.
and if more shows come up that we can all be there, I think we love doing it. We're not going to go on a year-long tour, but if shows show up and people want to see us and we can make it, hey.
Yeah, there's been some really nice people reaching out, like Pete from Less Than Jake was like, hey, I see that you guys are playing shows and let me know if I can help you. So we'd love to play with them. They're incredible. We only played with them once on a Tuesday night at TT and the Bears. And I think we got paid
$6.
$6. And then I said something which caused great umbrage about it. And then the woman started booking brownies in New York. And then I was like, you guys are just in it for the money.
You're just in it for the money, Teddy.
I think
Yeah.
if we get the 6-week tour, I can talk to Doug's boss and we'll sort it out.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was.
And I'm on sabbatical as of like
There
the
you
end
go.
of April. So
You have
and I
not
have a
met-
sewing machine. So
You have not met
my
Dr.
vision-
Zabo.
No, the vision
she's
for
a lady who doesn't
2026
take
is-
any shit from anybody. So
Bring
you-
us to
you
Pasadena.
can convince her.
I'll go to California.
Oh, I will go to California.
That's like a threat.
No. I I had
Fuck
a
it. I'll quit my job. My kids are almost done college.
I
They can pay for themselves.
the
Fuck it.
last time I booked a show, I think the last one I did was like in 98 or something.
Oh, okay.
And then 20, I don't know, 30, almost 30 years, 25 years later, in October, I just had my first show after so much time. It was actually a festival. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. It was called the Rude Girl Riot, and it was all female fronted bands out here
Cool.
Love
by the
that.
beach. And I lost my ass on it. I
Of
lost
course.
I lost thousands of dollars. So I still, because I love music, live music, and still promoting and stuff. I want to do it. I just don't like losing money.
Yeah,
So I
that's
would love to, because I
Oh
was
yeah.
trying to do something with Slow Gherkin and Los Carnales, and
Yeah, we would love to play with those guys.
there's a bunch of bands that want to come through. Like I was talking with the Impossibles.
You
Um,
know who we forgot to mention? Voodoo Glow Skulls.
oh yeah, yeah,
We play with them. We love them.
yeah. Those guys are great. I interviewed them last year for the before the Supernova thing. I think it was George. No, it was Eddie. But they're amazing guys. So down to earth. And we got to hang with them at Supernova at one of the breweries as
I
well.
brought them weed when they were on tour with No Doubt. They played somewhere on Lansdowne Street, and
Oh yeah,
it was like a week before Magic Kingdom like
Totally.
broke. It was hilarious.
yeah. I remember
I
that. I
had
saw
grown some weed that somehow actually got you high, and I brought him a bag.
after they took out all the seeds and stems.
yeah, yeah, right.
Now, where can we find your music, both physical and digital, if it's digital?
Well, you can get
Uh,
us on all the Spotify's.
yeah,
We
you know
are.
what's weird is that we're not in control of disco. I don't know who's getting the $6 a year of royalties of disco, but I
Is that
did
on
I
Spotify?
did put Hellfire out on all the streaming platforms. And I think disco is, but
Disco and
someone
Spotify are out on all the streaming platforms.
I want to get Crazy Train out, and I want to get Another Day out because it has that cool Bad Brains intro thing. So yeah, we'll be releasing more stuff because I have TuneCore or whatever. I can just throw it up on that.
And and in terms of actual real records,
Asbestos has
is now
um
got our vinyl.
yeah, and Community Records has a 7-inch.
You've got 2 followers on SoundCloud. Three.
Yes.
Now three. You got three now.
Is one of them my mother?
Oh no. I just decided to look up SoundCloud and see if you guys were on there. You are.
There we go.
There you go.
What's on
I
Sound?
gotta tell you, I looked at Spotify today. We have 357 monthly listeners. We're right up there with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we always like to say that we sold more records than Milli Vanilli's second album.
That's true. Excuse me.
No joking. All jokes aside, our disco came out the same year that Peter Frampton put out Frampton Comes Alive 2. And our record actually did sell more copies than Frampton Comes Alive 2.
Oh,
I
God.
can't believe that.
I will
Not true.
guarantee you, because nobody bought Frampton Comes Alive 2.
Someone was trying to tell me that Sammy Hagar's Van Halen was the highest selling Van Halen. I was like, are you? And then I Googled it and it was like, no.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Oh wait.
But yeah, and then maybe we'll get some new stuff. That'll be fun. I think that would be really fun because I've been recording a ton of music over the years, and so has Neil. So
Yeah.
Should I start
I don't think
practicing?
we
Is that what
need.
you're
I don't.
saying? I should like get the horn out of cold storage?
Yeah, make sure it's fixed. Isn't it broken?
No, I got it fixed.
Okay. But yeah, I think we don't need a studio anymore, which is great. Just because I've been traveling around recording bands for the past 16 years, so I have good mics, and I think we can pull it off without anybody and make it sound really good. So I'm kind of excited about doing that as a fun.
Yeah. No more reel to reel.
Yeah,
I remember
I
that.
still have all that shit though.
I have all the 2 inch. I have all the 2 inch tapes up in my attic. If we ever want to remix that shit,
I have some too.
I imagine it's pretty degraded at this point.
Mm.
Yeah, I've got a reply quarter-inch tape sitting in those desiccant balls right now to try to get it ready.
That's my new band, Teddy.
Desiccant balls.
Desiccant balls.
Get balls.
I think they're playing at Pioneer Valley Ska Fest.
Yeah, they're paying. They're
But
opening for us.
it's desiccant skulls.
Oh, I see what you did there. That was good.
Desiccant skulls.
Sorry, guys, I'm a little under the weather.
Sorry to hear that.
No, that's okay. I got to get these done. Now, any last words for the fans of Thumper out there and the viewers of this channel?
Yeah,
Any
fuck you.
messages for your that's not a nice thing to say to your mom, Doug.
I don't know what's wrong with you guys, but keep it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do our best to rekindle a fraction of our mighty flame.
And to play the songs
Pioneer.
at
And
half
thanks to
speed.
Pioneer and for 413 Ska for keeping the torch alive and believing in us
Absolutely.
and giving us a reason to get to hang out again and have fun together. It's a real gift.
It is. The ska community is amazing. You know, for all our bullshit, that's the community that just has been going forever and will keep going.
Mhm. That's awesome. I know it's late. Thank you so much. We appreciate every single, well, not we, I appreciate every single one of you. There used to be a co-host on here before. So sometimes I have a co-host. I don't know if you guys know Mida Goodwin. He does a lot of ska here in Central Valley. I asked him to be on. He couldn't, but
He was like Thumper. No.
But thank you all. We appreciate the time that you took to speak with us. If there's anything you need, please let us know. Check out the Goodwin Club when you're playing with them out there. They're going to play about the middle of the day. That's pretty much it.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, man.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
See
thank you
y'all
all.
this
This was
summer.
super fun.
I'll let you know when this is released. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All
All right.
right.
Take care, y'all.
Neil, don't
Cool.
sink.
Bye.
Bye.
Filled with guilt and devil